to Dan's Bar. Today I am dressed up in the stylish stylings of a New York newsie just to make today's drink, which is going to be a New York Sour. Now this one's really straightforward. There's a single liquor involved in it. That's it. One. I think I can manage. We're gonna be good. So we got a rye, a bourbon, any kind of whiskey you have that's a little bit on the drier side, because we're gonna have a whole lot of sweetness coming in from our sour portion of it. Have you ever noticed that there's a lot of drinks that are named after cities? We got the Manhattan and the New York Sour. Do we really need more named after the Big Apple? Also, I only realized the Big Apple was the same as New York like 2 years ago. Random side note. Anyway, so today we're gonna be making the New York Sour. It's gonna have 2 parts bourbon. I have a very dry bourbon here. It would absolutely work with a rye or any other whiskey you happen to have. In this case, I'm using a dry bourbon, as well as 1 part of our freshly squeezed lemon juice and 1 part simple syrup. It's a very basic sour. If you're gonna be using a sour mix, don't. Just lemon, sugar, that's it. Forget your sour mix. It's got all sorts of crap in there you don't need. Sour is super simple. Lemon, 1 part lemon, 1 part simple syrup. You'll be good to go. So we're doing 1 part, 2 parts, and it'll be great for a little old New York sour. However, there's one little addition we're gonna throw on top, which is a little float of a red wine that we'll get to later. So what we're gonna do to start off with is we have our shaker filled with our ice cubes that are ready to get everything nice and chilled down. We're going to go ahead and put in 2 ounces of our very dry whiskey into our mixer glass, not spilling any because we're good at what we do. Excellent. And we're gonna go ahead and cap that off. Next up, we're gonna have about 1 ounce of our simple syrup. Now, this one I made at home a little bit stronger than normal, so I'm just gonna pour it by hand, but in general, it's gonna be about 1 ounce of that. Lastly, we're gonna be doing 1 ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Now, I mentioned in a previous time, we have our little lemon limey squeezery thing here, which is fantastic. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and squeeze it into our cup on our nice little cutting board we got here. Fancy knife, because why not? Gonna cut our lemon in half, and yes, the lemon is freshly washed, fear not. Gotta make sure everything is fresh and washed and all that good stuff. So, as I mentioned the previous time, we load it face down, this direction, and we actually get a good squeeze. In this case, my lemon is giant and almost fits. Come on, you can fit in there. Get in there. Come on. Ah, there we go, perfect. Fits like a glove. So we have our lemon juice ready to go. Good Lord, that's a giant lemon. Oh, look at that lever action giving us all the goodness that we need out of that. Perfect 1 ounce right there. And yes, I will squeeze the rest of the lemon later. No lemon will go to waste. It'll make my waters later fancy, you know, a little water with lemon and lime. It just makes everything fancier, you know. More ingredients, always good. So we have freshly squeezed lemon juice into our New York Sour, which is completing the sour portion of the beverage. So now that we've got that, we're gonna go ahead and shake this up. And once it's shaken, we're gonna go ahead and put it into a lowball glass with crushed ice. Now, I know yours is too. My lowball glass is currently in the freezer, making sure that it's nice and cold so it won't have any dilution once we put that crushed ice in. Crushed ice is gonna melt much faster than any large cubes of ice, so you wanna make sure that your glass is cold if possible beforehand, just to make sure you don't dilute anything more than you already are. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab that out of the freezer, fill it up with crushed ice, and we'll be right back. And we walk into the frame glass first. And we walk into the frame glass first. And now we have our freshly chilled glass with our nicely crushed ice from our transparent cube, because, you know, why not have some consistency there? Our drink is nice and chilled, and we'll go ahead and pour that right into our beautifully crushed ice there. Now the next thing we want to do is just have a little bit of a float of red wine on top. Now ordinarily we would want to use a nice fruity red wine like a malbec or something. In this case I happen to have a Bordeaux open, so we're going to use that instead. And usually you want to use a spoon so you can kind of pour directly onto the spoon and kind of get the nice float going that way. I'm going to have the same effect done with a knife by having a little bit of a float there. And once we put that in, we now have a beautifully divided cocktail where we have our nice combination of that whiskey and the simple syrup and the lemon at the bottom, the nice fruitiness of that fruity red wine on top, and the beautiful presentation that's layered. I mean, you can't beat a layered presentation. It's just gorgeous. It's useless to drink because you're going to have to stir it up to be able to drink it in the first place, but it's gorgeous when you first bring it out to the table. It's just, why not have presentation, Presentation, you're worth it. You are worth it. Can I be honest with you for a second? I feel like this may be overkill. I was trying to go the whole Newsies vibe, New York is the gold and the show tunes, everything is sparkly and I feel like this may be overkill. I don't know, what do you think? Anyway, we now have our nicely layered cocktail with our red wine and our beautiful bourbon cocktail underneath. You'll be shocked. The top tastes like a malbec because it has a malbec on top. But, when we get that, actually no, I take it back. Ooh, the bourbon and lemon come nicely. Oh, that actually works. Yeah, that's tasty. All right, so we got the bourbon and the lemon and the simple syrup and the wine all kind of working together to make this fruity, dry, sweet, sour. Oh look, balance. The balance is, it's like the Force. The Force is balanced. You got the light side and the dark side. You got the sweet side and the sour side and the dry side. It's perfect. So we have our perfect cocktail. I would heartily encourage you, go out and see what we have around. If you have bourbon and you have red wine, you can make a cocktail like this that's just as delightful. So I've had a whole bunch of videos about a whole bunch of different cocktails, and I want to know, what do you want? What kind of cocktails are you looking for? What kind of information are you looking for? And what can I give you, tell you, talk about, make jokes about that you think would be interesting? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always interested to get feedback and figure out what you'd find interesting. I find every beverage to be delightful, so if I can make something that is both delightful and everybody else wants to drink, all the more power to it. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day today and a wonderful week this week and a wonderful month this month. If I can make this vest work, you can make it through today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Hopefully you're doing wonderfully. Enjoy your cocktails. Cheers. Until next time.